Hello, everybody. This is the RSN podcast. We're here right now in this January period right here for the most anticipated event in the calendar year history of WWE, and that is the Royal Rumble. We're here to talk specifically about what's going to happen. Basically, our preview about it was basically going to happen the big events on Sunday, the 24th? Yeah, the 24th.
24th.
Yep, in Orlando, Florida. A lot of big things. The wrestling industry has been buzzing, and there's a lot. It's WrestleMania season. The beginning of WrestleMania season. It's a big time, and it's very, very interesting what's going on. I mean, a lot of big things are happening, and it's very interesting to see. What we're gonna do right now is just go ahead and go through some of the matches, see what's there. Also discuss the possibilities, the rumors, and all the other stuff that's going on. We'll just start from. There's basically 6 matches on the card. We're starting from the bottom and working our way all the way to the top to the Royal Rumble match. And yeah, I mean, I'll just take it to you, Rich.
All right. The first match, which is the pre-show match, it's a fatal 4-way tag match to qualify for the Rumble. It's Darren Young and Damian Sandow versus the Dudleys versus the Ascension versus Mark Henry and Jack Swagger. Sal, who do you think will win this and qualify for the match, even though all 8 men were probably going to be in the match anyway?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. They announced beforehand that there's gonna be a lot of people, and these 4 different teams were on the card and everything, But I mean, it's crazy now they're having this qualifier match. It's interesting because they're kind of like drawing in the attention for who's gonna show up at the Rumble and who's gonna actually be there in the match. But I mean, if I had hands down, I would say probably the Dudleys, because last time we saw before, it was in I believe 2013 or 2014. We saw, it was actually last year, matter of fact, 2015.
Yeah.
Bubba Ray came out, and then they had this whole angle with him and R-Truth, and I was kind of people kind of looked at it and kind of like they shied away from it because it kind of looked a little bit, what's the word?
Suspicious,
racist,
weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It was an awkward moment. It was kind of racist in a way, but it kept eyes going because that was probably the biggest buzz of the night. But
hands down that was.
Yeah, the Dudleys were, I think, I say they probably would be the best to qualify. What about you?
Even though all 8 guys will be in the match, I say, I'm just throwing like a random name out there. I say the Ascension, even though I could care less.
The Ascension,
because all 8 men will be in the Rumble somehow, so it doesn't really matter.
True. I mean, they're from NXT. I mean, it's been a trend now with the NXT guys. They've actually been buried now. I mean, you see all these different stars. If they actually pull out some NXT stars, the Kalisto and Connor, what's it called? My bad. Victor and Connor, the Ascension would probably be the best pick to represent NXT. Yep. But maybe there'll be a restart for their career.
Hopefully, because I think they have potential.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting is if you see in this match the different pairing that they have. They have Darren Young and Damian Sandow.
Random mix.
And then another one too, Mark Henry and Jack Swagger.
No, not really, because they're both American, like the whole All-American, Olympic, all that.
Ah, I see.
So that team makes sense.
True.
To actually put together.
True. I mean, in my opinion, I think Damian Sandow should be in the Outcasts, but.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think it's just another way to involve more talent. But we'll have to see what goes on from there.
Speaking of teams, the first match we're actually going to cover for the pay-per-view is the tag team title match. The New Day versus the Usos.
The Usos have been on a big roll this past year. And,
Since New Day, they came back from the injury.
Yep. And it's been big for them. They've had a lot of different matches in the year of 2015. They've won the belts. They've done a whole list of things.
They had a lot of good spots.
A lot of great spots. But, I mean, it kind of set them up because at the end of the year, who was voted the tag team of the year? I mean, here at RSN, we said that the New Day was a tag team of the year. And it was present. It was prevalent. Everybody would agree 100%. They sold the merchandise. They cut the best promos. They did the best in-ring action.
Kept the fans wanting more.
and they kept us entertained. Indeed, yeah. I mean, that's another thing. But how the Usos got it. That's kind of at the tag team of the year. That was kind of
because of the name.
like how the hell Oh, just because they were known and everything. I mean, you gotta understand. The Usos have been there for a while now. Usos have been here for what, almost, I said, what, 6 years, 7 years?
Something like that.
Maybe longer, I think. But I mean, this to see this match, who do you think should win between these
The
two?
New Day.
The New Day. I mean, they could
But
have.
the way that they book, it's going to be the Usos.
Yeah, I have a feeling because they're trying to make them the face and everything, and the New Day. But I mean, they're selling the merchandise. It makes sense to give them, the New Day the belts because they're selling. They're the biggest. They're the hottest thing right now in wrestling. I mean, if you see their rise from way back in the year when they first started to now, they had a light under, like a fire under their asses, and they pulled through, and they were able to keep themselves, going
Mm-hmm.
forward. That's interesting.
Well, since we're talking about teams, the next match we're going to cover, this guy's partner went down with an injury. The next match is going to be Del Rio versus Kalisto for the U.S. title.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most talked about matches. I mean, recently you saw at the Brooklyn. It all started at the Brooklyn Raw, where John Cena and Del Rio had a program for the belt, and then unfortunately Cena got injured. He had a shoulder injury, and all this other stuff happened. All the plans got wrecked. Supposedly, from what I'm hearing, they said they were gonna have a whole program for these two, where they were gonna have the belt, and then for the
Keep
title,
going back and forth.
back and
That's what
forth.
you're saying?
Yeah, back and forth from the Rumble on, maybe until WrestleMania, from what I heard. But
I
those
can't see them switching every other week. It's
true,
going to bore the fans.
it will, yeah. I mean, but indeed, like if you've seen Kalisto's rise, he deserves it. I think he's 100% ready for it. And
I
for
think he deserves to win it tomorrow at
yeah,
the Rumble
hmm
and then keep it until after Mania,
yeah. I mean,
until they promote someone else.
true. I mean, if you've seen recently, he won the belt and then he lost it. That was kind of and that's kind of like a burial right there. That's kind of like, come on, man, you just gave him a 1 day reign. That's not right. That's not justice. But if who wants to win this match, definitely it would be Kalisto. But
I
I know
want Kalisto.
Rio. You pick Kalisto too?
Yeah, because I think he's going to have a good, like a big 2016.
True. I mean, it would be a good start of the year. To actually win the title again, two-time United States champion. That'd be a big deal. But we'll have to see from there. Depending on what the plans are, we'll have
Yeah.
to see.
Speaking of someone who deserves the title, we're going to shoot over to the Divas title. Charlotte versus Becky.
And
With
we
the
got
opening I just had for the match, my pick is Becky.
Becky. I choose Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte. I think she's on a roll right now. They're basically making her a heel now, and plus she got Ric Flair in the corner, and it's a beautiful match because you got father and daughter. You still got Rick involved, and you got Charlotte involved as well.
Well, if you listen to the last podcast, person I think deserves a run, Sasha.
I agree. I mean, they're trying to make this program where they're trying to have Sasha break off, but they should do it as soon as possible because this needs to happen as soon as possible. But we'll have to see from there. Because I mean, do you think Becky Lynch deserves a spot as a champion?
No, I just don't want to see Charlotte hold the title. I think Sasha should have been the first one to win from NXT.
Yeah, I mean, if forecasting from now, it seems like they're just going ahead and they're gonna have like a hot potato with the Divas title, and I think that's pretty much gonna be good for the Divas division because there's always a fresh face, something new.
It is, but it isn't at the same time because same thing. If you keep flip flopping titles, it's gonna bore the fans.
True, it is, and to an extent, I agree. But I mean, we'll have to see about that. Maybe and also there's a rumor that the Paige, what happened to her? She hasn't been on TV for a while, so maybe sometime she'll be inside the fold. Inside the
Well,
title.
she just came back on Monday.
Recently from.
She's teaming with Natty now.
I mean, yeah, but creatively, we're like, what are they gonna do now? I mean, they had the whole PCB thing, the breakup, and then, she kind of fell off.
Well, since we're talking about NXT, we have two former NXT greats competing in a last man standing match for the Intercontinental title. Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. This match has potential to be match of the night.
Indeed, it is. I mean, if you've seen the build up from from December, the Raws in December till now, it's always been a back and forth where one person got another person, tossed into a table, power bomb straight through, attack them brutally, and all that other stuff. Basically, you're seeing two good fighters and you're seeing two, great performers as well.
Two great promos.
Yeah, you have John Moxley and Kevin Steen. Basically, that's John Moxley, ECW. He's infamous with that. In Mexico, Japan, always done crazy stuff, and it's perfect. And Steen, great fighter. He can go and put on one hell of a performance. He can kick ass. But what will also make this match stand out is the fact that it's a last man standing match. If I say who would win, I have to go with Owens. What about you?
I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place because I love Ambrose and I respect Owens.
Yeah,
I think it might end in a draw.
I have a feeling this could be it could be a long feud. I mean, they could actually extend this feud out. And if you really
this could last a long time, this feud.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at this whole card, the two matches, the IC title match and the US title match, they have potential of going farther into the year. And you can legitimately say that they can really build something off of this and make this, good matches.
That's true.
Yeah, but we'll have to see what they do. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe a new contender. We'll have to see.
This match is going to be match of the night and could be feud of the year.
Indeed, it could be. And I think it's basically setting them up for a 2016 title run for both of these people. Because, you see Dean Ambrose, he's the only member that hasn't won the WWE title. Because if you really think about it, it's Roman who's won the belt, Seth won it first, and now Dean is left and he's not in the fold. So will he get the title before WrestleMania, after WrestleMania? Who knows?
Probably after.
I feel, that after probably too, because they have a lot of momentum going into WrestleMania. But also feel that,
speaking of WrestleMania, the match that builds to WrestleMania, the Rumble match itself.
True, and it used to go ahead and build up to the Rumble, but now for the first time ever in a long time, the belt's on the line.
First time ever.
First time ever. I mean, they said the last time it actually happened was, I believe, in 1988 or 9, where the WWF Championship was on the line, and 30 men. I think it was 20 men or 30 men, something like that.
It was a 30 man, but there was no actual champion. It was vacant.
Oh, it was
this
vacant.
is the first time someone held the title going into the match.
Really? I mean, it's an interesting predicament. I mean, plus they have this whole feud with the McMahons and Roman Reigns, so it makes a perfect match, And plus,
Roman's the first entry.
True.
Which puts all odds against him.
It does. And it's pretty ironic, because he won last year and he's going in first. So now it makes you kind of think, at the same time, he probably doesn't have a good chance of winning. But at the same time, you think maybe he does. Because if you really think about it, who's the only other person that has won the Royal Rumble at number 1?
The unmentionable.
The unmentionable, Chris Benoit. And
I'm telling Vince.
I'm telling Vince too, straight up. But he's not.
No, you said the name. I'm telling Vince.
He's not gonna do shit. It's like fuck. I mean, who else is unmentionable? You can name a whole list, But it's
CM Punk.
CM Punk. We can't speak his name. He's like Voldemort. It's like nah. Can't
Both
say
of them are.
They are dead ass Voldemort. It's crazy, and their name is not to be spoken of at all. But it's pretty. I mean, besides the fact the Royal Rumble has made careers and it
brings back, and then you have surprise entries.
Yeah, and there's a whole list this year. There's a whole list. There's a lot, plus with a lot of rumors that are going on. But I mean, besides the fact, you gotta look at the fact. The past 2 Rumbles from 2014 and 2015. Hell, I go as far as say 2013 were disappointments. Because there was always something that either went wrong that the fans didn't like, or something that didn't make people, catch on. That made a whole crowd like boo everybody, Because
I remember when the Rumble was actually worth watching.
True, it was, and this was
before you could actually tell who was going to win it.
True, and this time, you have the internet, so of course, there's always going to be spoilers leaking out. Dirt sheets are always going to say something, and it's very hard.
Who do you think is going to be like the surprise entries?
Well, I heard that. From what I heard,
the phenomenal one.
AJ is like the big one, I think, because of the New Japan signings. But and anything can happen. If and from what they're saying, he actually is gonna show. But we'll have to see from there.
because
Because
he's in Miami right now.
yeah, and I heard about that too. Because he's and they're pretty much teasing it. I mean, it's pretty much clear and cut and dry. He's probably gonna show up. But here's another fact. A few I'd say what even a few days ago, they were saying that what you call it? They don't want him to be in the Rumble because they feel that if he goes out and there's no reaction, what's gonna happen is basically gonna bring him down. But
It's
here's
gonna
the
be a bad signing.
true, and they think that it's just that ROH is a niche product, meaning it's only centered around a certain group of people that know. So when he does come out, what if he has no reaction? Basically, they just ruin the momentum, So that's something that they're scared of. And there was a point where they said, let's not have him come to the Rumble, and instead have him come out maybe like on a vignette for Raw, and then show up the next week, which I think is pretty shitty. I mean, if you
Or
look
if
at
they're smart, you save him for Mania.
true, I mean they could do that, but that's another thing. How are they gonna hype him up? How are they gonna educate the fans that who is this guy? Who is AJ Styles?
Even though people already know who he is.
For a fact, they probably definitely do know. I mean, if recently, if you've seen on the dirt sheets, there's a spoiler on the NXT tapings, and who showed up? Big name,
Who?
Austin Aries.
Hmm.
He showed up on the the NXT set. They made a whole ruckus about it. People knew about it, and people were very very they were surprised at it because that's a pretty big signee. Basically, a big you know independent star. Now he's in WWE. That's great. But
That's
I mean,
true.
yeah, but that's the fact. They're scared that can a veteran like AJ Styles get the same reaction. But that's a really big challenge. That's kind of a fear too. Because let's say if we watch it and he doesn't come out,
I'm
that's
not. I am gonna be upset, but at the same time, I'm not.
I think I'll be accepted because then from there, I think it'll be the same thing as we had from the last year's Royal Rumble, where and probably the year before, where it was Brian came out, and then next thing you know, that's it, and then everybody knew the finish. They said, "Okay, Roman's gonna win," and then he won, and then people booed the hell out of him. Same
Well,
thing with what happened the year before with Batista. Batista and Roman went in, Batista won. Everybody expected it. They pretty much knew about it, but
well, in your opinion, what NXT call-ups do you see? Not even like call-ups, just coming out.
well, they said that they were gonna have Finn probably come up. I have a big feeling Finn will probably show up at some point.
I think
Who,
Sammy.
Sammy too. Sammy, I think he deserves it, but they kind of are fishy with him. Thinking that will he come back? Will it happen? But they're kind of hesitant about it. But
You know,
speaking
there's
about
gonna
it,
be the legends coming back.
true. I mean, if you look at the list of names, there are a lot of possibilities. They could be former legends. They could be former stars from that are now in the Indies. You look at all the names: MVP, Mr. Kennedy. Who
I'm
else?
hearing John Morrison.
John Morrison too. Yeah, I'm hearing that too. Rey Mysterio, but he's signed with Lucha, so they're kind of saying that that can't happen. Who
Well,
else?
in your just like sum up this match, who do you think's gonna win?
It's hard to say. This is kind of a same thing. It's a rock and a hard place. You really can't say because it basically connects to what's going to happen at Mania. Every single thing that's going to happen in this Rumble is basically a preview for WrestleMania. Because you have to take into consideration who's going to face the Undertaker, what's going to be the headliner for WrestleMania, what are going to be the other matches. So it's kind of hard to say because they're all linked together. If one thing happens, a bunch of other things can happen. So it's kind
I'm just throwing a name out there.
who do you think?
The headline for WrestleMania: Roman Reigns versus WWE Champion Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Yeah, I've heard it. Well, I mean, true. But Bray Wyatt is one of the names that has been proven to, that he's been like the big pick to win the Rumble, and I think he deserves it. No problem. He deserves it 100%. But here's the thing: they had rumors that who's going to be Brock's opponent. Could you
I'm
see
hearing Strowman.
from what? Yeah, from what I heard, they said they wanted Strowman, but I was actually thinking, why not have Owens do it? and they were actually thinking about having Bray face Brock because it makes sense. You know, if they actually have a finish where maybe at the Rumble Brock comes out, next thing you know, Wyatt family takes him out or screws him out. That's building the feud right there. You know, that could be something that's like a story they could build right there. But like
But then,
with
like you said,
yeah,
Taker also needs an opponent for his final match.
I mean, is he gonna retire? Is this gonna be his last match? I mean, if you look at it last year, he had a last SummerSlam pay per view. He has his last Survivor Series pay per view. This is his last Royal Rumble pay per view. So why not end it with a bang? And then this probably will be his last WrestleMania, but that's hard to say. What's gonna happen?
And it's in his hometown Mania, so they're going to induct him.
True. I mean, that's another thing too. How are they? Sting's getting inducted. He's the headliner. So is
He's the headliner until they announce Taker.
true. But do you think that Taker's going to go into the Hall of Fame this year?
If it's in his hometown and he'll announce this could be his last Mania in his hometown, yeah.
But you got to take into consideration, does WWE, what's going to be for next year then? Is WWE going to save him for next year or the year after, something like that? Because
Time will tell.
yeah, I mean, every year they want a headliner. So, if they don't have a headliner, the Hall of Fame is just, it's the Hall of Fame. That's it.
Well, WWE fans are waiting for one name besides Taker to go in.
Who else?
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. Yeah, indeed. I mean, Owen, he's well overdue for getting his induction. But Martha Hart, she's always getting to the face and saying no, I can't. That's not right. All that and lawsuits and all this other stuff. So that's preventing WWE from doing it, and it's sad. But I mean, if you look at the list of names that show up at Royal Rumble, including legends, you gotta take into the fact there's a lot of mysterious names that could pop up. Recently, from what I heard, you know who else is supposed to come? Goldberg.
I've heard that before.
Supposedly they had a whole feud saying, okay, that they're gonna have Brock versus Goldberg
Again?
but this one much better. It's hard to say. Will he show up? Will he? What's gonna happen? Also, another name, a whole bunch of names. You can run down the list. Carlito, Shelton Benjamin. Who else?
There's a whole bunch of names you could throw out there.
There's a lot of names. You can name everybody. Former WWE stars, former legends. Kevin Nash, HBK. But that
Nash, if his quad actually holds up.
Yep. Scott, DDP.
Scott won't do it. Scott's out of shape.
True. DDP, I mean, he might come. And Scott, it's a possibility, but we'll have to see. Jake the Snake Roberts. You got to understand, Jake the Snake Roberts didn't get a chance. He was actually petitioning for it last year, or I think the year before. And they didn't put him in the Royal Rumble. Instead, they just had him to be in the old school Raw. It would be a big show if he came back, and in the Rumble just for one last appearance. That'd be pretty interesting.
But time will tell. We'll find out tomorrow.
True. I mean, overall, well, before we finish this off, I want to ask you, what are your top three, your top three winners? What do you think is going to be the winners for the Royal Rumble 2016? And also, we're going to do a little segment here where we're going to basically write down the program for WrestleMania. So here's what I'm going to ask you. What are your top three winners for this year's Royal Rumble? And also,
who are my three predictions?
For WrestleMania. For WrestleMania, for the three matches, Brock, the world title match, and The Undertaker. Who's basically going to be in that picture?
Well, I already said my title match, Roman versus Bray. Because remember, they feuded last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could carry over till this year. Anyone but you.
True.
Because if you think about it, it's the perfect setup.
True, it is. I mean,
one versus all.
It's building a new feud, It's not the classic Brock Taker feud. It's something new and original.
So I think Roman versus Bray, with Bray winning tomorrow.
True. And what about Undertaker?
Brock versus Strowman, probably the two strong men.
But you gotta take into fact that he really can't wrestle, because they're he's fought in matches and they've kind of not have any trust in him because he really can't wrestle more than 5 minutes. So can he put that show on for Brock, or will it just?
So Brock versus Harper then.
Harper?
Yeah.
I can see that. Basically, any member of the Y family, right?
Yeah.
True.
And then
What about Taker?
Taker. Well, the original person is injured.
Cena, yeah.
Hmm.
It's hard to say, right?
Brother versus brother
Kane again?
for the final showdown.
But that's like the fourth time then. That's crazy.
If
Man,
it's up to Taker, he'll probably want his brother to be the last match.
true. That makes sense. What I was thinking was this. They could have,
So this is your title match.
yeah.
So who's winning tomorrow
Well,
to
actually, I
hold the
was
title?
thinking this. The last time someone returned from an injury to the Rumble was Edge in 2011, or I think it was 2010, something like that. So why not have Daniel Bryan come back, win the Rumble to a big, shocking, return and everything? Because there's been reports that he has tests, he hasn't passed, all this stuff. So what if he just comes out, wins? That's gonna be a big draw.
All right. And then who's his opponent at Mania?
Well, here's what I had for the title match. I actually was picturing the same thing as Roman and Bray, but actually an alternative to that, what I was thinking was Roman and Triple H, because
Okay.
it makes sense, because they're gonna title match or no title match.
I actually see Triple H coming back and winning tomorrow.
That's another thing too. Triple H, he hasn't shown up since the last time in TLC when he got his ass kicked.
Since
So
he
it
got
makes
Superman punched in the mouth.
super getting punched and speared through a table. It makes sense. Why not have that feud come up?
Okay. So
But
that's your title match.
that's a title match. Title no title match. I think that's gonna be good. For Taker, I actually have two. First one I actually wanted was Sting because it makes sense. It's in Sting's,
That's been a rumor for like 2 years, 3 years.
and it has to happen. I mean, it can't end like that. It can't end with Sting
Unless
retiring and that's it.
Sting's back injury.
I mean, it was a neck. I think it was a neck or back injury. But I mean, they really can't have this dream match not happen. It sucks because if you just have this build up for years and years and years, and then it doesn't happen, that sucks. That basically is a dream match fading away, and that sucks.
And
But
what's your alternate?
alternate would be probably what you called Owens. I think Owens, or
Okay.
what I'm hearing, Jericho. Because really,
And
who else has
your
face?
and your Lesnar match?
Lesnar. I'd say probably Lesnar. Best bet would probably be Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt or Kevin Owens for sure. I mean, either of those
Okay.
situations,
Sounds
Taker.
good.
Yeah, either someone doesn't get it, boom, they can have they can have Owens and Bray, and switch off and everything, and it'll be a pretty good match. But yeah,
All right. So with that being said, if you miss the Rumble, you could catch the Rumble review on our fellow member Nick's website, prowrestlingopinion.com. So anytime after Sunday, you can go onto the site, check out the results. He basically breaks it down, the highlights of the match, and then he gives a quick summary of the whole show. So check
and
out his site.
yeah, I
And
mean,
if you want to check out any past reviews, any past podcasts, you could go on prowrestlingopinion.com, check them out. You go on our YouTube, our Twitters, our Facebook.
and also, I mean, you should check out also our our Facebook pages. You should check out PWO, their Facebook page, their website, like Rich said before. Also check out our Twitters. What's your Twitter handle, Rich? Mine's is Amazing94. What about you?
I actually don't remember it. I'm going to check it out right now. Sorry about that.
Well, anyway, yeah, I mean, we'll have it down below in the description, so you can check that out too.
It's Richie Serini 13.
Richie Serini 13. So be sure to check that out, and we'll go ahead and keep us followed, keep us up to date, and we'll always go ahead and keep up all this. Basically, this is gonna be part of a big four series. This is gonna be the different pay-per-views that are coming up, the big four pay-per-views.
But for a future Big Four, Nick will be here. He's not here because he's just catching up to date.
He's trying to get some work done for PWO, and
you have to remember he's doing 5-6 different companies, which I give him all praise for keeping up with all big shows.
It's pretty hard. I mean, on top of the fact that he's he's only one man doing it, but over time he's getting more and more writers on board with him, and it's becoming more and more bigger now. But yeah, I mean, as you see more and more, you're gonna see more of this happening. Originally, this was supposed to be four, all three of us talking about the Royal Rumble preview. But again, like we said, we're planning to make this like a series, so this will be specifically for the big four pay-per-views. So Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. But
We might
as
throw other ones in there if we think the card is worth talking about.
as I mean, that's as time has gone along. But you can also check us out, check out our old podcast, and be sure to keep us up to date.
If you guys want any topics talked about, drop a comment, write to one of us on Twitter. Just let us know. We might actually put one of your topics on the show.
True.
So, with that being said, this is Rich signing out.
Yep. All right. See you guys later.
See you guys.